What's up, you guys? I'm here in my kitchen showing you 10 things that I consider absolute must-haves when it comes to dieting or reversing, maintaining, bulking, anything. These 10 items, when I run out of it, I immediately get more from the store. These are things that I just cannot live without. They're what I would consider kitchen staples. First of all, I love to cook, and that's kind of like an unpopular opinion, I think, but I absolutely love to cook. I love to eat at home. And these are kind of things that I always go to. Alright, so first one we're going to talk about is a carb source. These are quick oats, and then I also have cream of wheat. Now, whenever I first started my fitness journey, I saw everyone eating oats. Like, I thought that was like the way to get lean, was you had to eat oats. Aaron always eats oats, so I eat oats. Personally, oats do not digest that well for me. So I recently made the switch to cream of white rice or cream of wheat, which I find to be much more easily digestible. They have similar macros, so this is kind of a demonstration that you need to find what works for you, not what works for Sally's six-pack. Figure out what foods your body responds best to, and then stick with those foods. So I don't really use the oats as much anymore. Every now and then I do find them more like voluminous and filling, but my body just doesn't digest them as well as cream of wheat. So those two things are kind of like a staple. That's number one, counting those as one. Number two, always have eggs in the house, and egg whites. Technically you could just have eggs and you could separate out the egg whites, obviously, but whole eggs are a great source of healthy fats. They have, I believe, about the same amount of fat as they do protein, 5 grams of each. No, 5 grams of fat, 6 grams of protein in one egg. So think about it, yes, they're a protein source, but generally you're gonna run out of fat before you run out of protein with this. So I think of whole eggs as a fat source and egg whites as a protein source. Lately I've been doing egg white breakfast tacos, which are, I could eat them every day, and I do. Next up, kind of going along with the breakfast taco thing, always gotta have salsa on hand. Next up, kind of going with the breakfast taco thing, always gotta have salsa on hand. If I'm in a pinch, I will maybe eat like Kroger brand salsa or like El Paso or something like that, but I am like bougie when it comes to salsa, and I want stuff that like comes from the deli and has no artificial preservatives, organic, all that bullshit. I love it. Spend my money on salsa. So this salsa is a great way to add flavoring to your food for very, very minimal calories. One serving of this, which is 2 tablespoons, is 10 calories, 0 fat, 3 carbs, 0 protein. So very easy way to add a lot of flavoring, but not a lot of calories. All right, that's 3 items so far. We're going along the taco trend, because obviously you have to have taco seasoning. Major key with this, look how much I love tacos. I've only had this for like maybe 2 or 3 months. Think about how many packets of taco that is. Major key is stop buying those stupid packets. You know you're gonna have tacos at least a couple times a week for the rest of your life, so invest in a carton of taco seasoning. This one, it does need to be counted towards your macros. There's gonna be variation between brands of how many calories it is, but this is 2 teaspoons, 15 calories, 0 fat, 3 carb, 0 protein. So that actually does kind of add up when you're having tacos as much as I'm having tacos, and depending on how heavy-handed you are with the seasonings, which I tend to be, I'd be throwing some taco seasoning in there. So that's a major key. Next up is coconut oil. Now, coconut oil, I'm going to try to explain to you from a non-scientific standpoint. Even though I work with a science-based team, I'm not with it when it comes to science explanations. But my understanding is that coconut oil has a higher smoke point. So basically, when you cook with this on a high heat, it's not going to start degrading because it has that higher smoke point, and we don't want things that are degrading going into our bodies because it's already like starting the process of basically spoiling before you're even eating it. So something like extra virgin olive oil is great, but you shouldn't cook at a high heat with it. You should be cooking at a high heat with coconut oil. This is a fat source again. It's 14 grams of fat, 0 carbs, 0 protein. It doesn't taste like coconuts. It just doesn't give your food like a coconut flavor or anything like this. But this is a great way to get in your healthy fats. I love cooking with this. I'll cook with it on the stovetop or in the air fryer, and it's much better than extra virgin olive oil. Next up, I have the way that I sweeten things. So like sometimes I'll sweeten smoothies. Usually I'll sweeten coffee. I don't use things like Splenda or Sweet and Low because they give me headaches. Artificial sweeteners like that just tend to give me headaches, and I don't know, anywhere that you can choose something that's a little more natural, you know, who knows, come for me in the comments, but I just do that. So this is a stevia. I've also used Truvia, which I've heard kind of mixed things about, but it's supposed to be like made with stevia extract in a more natural way to sweeten without any calories. The other one that I have here is something I've been putting in my coffee lately. It's called Sweet Leaf Liquid Stevia Sweet Drops. You can check out my bomb ass manicure while you look at that. So this is vanilla cream. I also have a toffee, English toffee flavor. I've been putting this in my coffee. Girl, I'm not only speaking to girls, but Island coconut with vanilla and steamed almond milk. Shook, I'm shook. Forget I said that. I'll edit that out later. All right, another kind of like sweet hack is I always have Kroger Carb Master yogurt. Sometimes I show these and people get ticked because they don't have a Kroger near them. But any kind of like yogurt that has minimal sugars in it and isn't a waste of your carbs and fats is gonna be something good to keep on hand because this is so good for a sweet tooth. Another thing is that like, if you are not somebody who has a reason to limit dairy, like if you're lactose intolerant, yeah, don't eat dairy. But if you have never had a problem with dairy, I highly encourage you to include it. Same thing with gluten, same thing with meat, unless you have like an ethical reason. But there's no reason to like keep yourself from eating something. Like it's not gonna make me any leaner or healthier if I preclude dairy. So for me, I definitely always include it. And so these are delicious. These have 1.5 fat, 5 carb, 9 protein. If you are gonna go for a yogurt, I highly suggest getting one that has a little bit more protein in it. Something like a Greek yogurt is great too. Like 9 grams of protein for 70 calories is really awesome. So just be mindful when you're choosing yogurts that you don't get anything that's super high in carbs unless that's what you wanna use your carbs on. Me, I would rather have other things. But this is a great sweet tooth hack. Speaking of sweet tooth hacks, I always have berries on hand. So right now blackberries are in season and strawberries. So those are gonna be generally lower carb fruit sources, and obviously they're packed with micronutrients and antioxidants and all of that. So they're not gonna like use up a bunch of your carbs. This is kind of like thing 11 because I just thought of it. But I also have some fat-free whipped topping that I was planning on putting on the blackberries later. So that's another like little sweet tooth hack. Final sweet tooth hack I have for you is these Dasani sparkling waters. This is a black cherry, and this is just sparkling water with, it says natural flavors, unsweetened, carbonated water. That's it. So technically this shouldn't have any artificial sweeteners in it. That's up for debate. But this is great when you're like just craving something sweet. If you're craving pop, this is fizzy, it's delicious. It helps you get your water in because technically it's still water, it's Dasani, hello. So these are a major key. People do LaCroix too, I don't like those as much, but flavored water. Final thing. When you think fat loss, when you think health, you think salads, or me, whatever. My favorite salad dressing in the world is Bolthouse Farms. These are Greek yogurt based dressings. The macros on these are incredible. 45 calories, 3 fat, 3 carb, 1 protein for 30 grams, which is 2 tablespoons. You are not gonna find better macros that have like better ingredients than this. Like, these are just the best there are in my personal opinion. They have a ton of different flavors. This is just the ranch. They have everything you can think of, and they're very, very, very macro friendly. That's all I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. These are things that I always have in my kitchen. And if you can kind of start putting these things together and having a base of things in your kitchen that you know you can grab, then you start adding in other things and it becomes easier to hit your macros because you have things like this on hand. So leave me a comment below if you have any ideas for videos, if you'd like to see more like this. I do want to start talking more about recipes because I think people find that very helpful, but let me know and I will see you next time.